We're about to pull the curtain back on one of the most unsettling truths in all of psychology. It's a concept from the book The Elephant in the Brain. And I'll warn you, once you truly get it, your view of every single human interaction will be changed forever. There's no one seeing this. Think about the last good thing you did. Maybe you donated to a cause, helped a friend move, or just held a door open. You told yourself a story about it, right? A story about how you're a kind, generous person. Well, that story is a lie, a convenient, well-crafted lie. Because deep down, every one of those actions was a strategic move for your own selfish benefit. But here's where it gets really strange. It's not just that we're selfish. We are biologically hardwired to be blind to our own selfishness. So the real question isn't if we're lying to ourselves, it's why. Why would evolution build a brain that is an expert at self-deception? To answer that, you have to be willing to throw out all the comfortable stories you've been told about human nature. You have to look at the raw mechanics of social life. This is unspoken rules. And this is where we expose the psychological truths that nobody is supposed to teach you. So, let's get into it. The entire concept hinges on one powerful metaphor. Imagine there is a giant, ugly, inconvenient truth sitting in the middle of every room you're in, and everyone, including you, has an unspoken agreement to pretend it isn't there. That's what the authors call the elephant in the brain. This elephant, it's the sum of all our hidden motives, our drive for status, for power, for social standing. It's the raw, unspoken fact that we are political animals, constantly jockeying for a better position. And here's the genius part. Our brain evolved to hide this elephant from our own conscious mind so that we can be far, far better at hiding it from everyone else. So how exactly does our brain pull off this incredible magic trick? It uses a very specific mechanism. Think of it as having a spin doctor living inside your head. This model flips everything you think you know about consciousness on its head. You see, you think your conscious mind, the voice in your head right now, is the CEO, the one calling the shots. You're wrong. Your conscious mind isn't the CEO. It's the press secretary. Its job isn't to make decisions. Its job is to justify them after the fact, creating a socially acceptable story for public consumption. And here's exactly how it works, day in and day out. Step 1, your unconscious brain, the elephant, makes a decision based on a raw, selfish motive, like wanting to look good in front of someone. Step 2, that decision gets handed up to your conscious mind, the press secretary. Step 3, immediately your conscious mind scrambles to invent a noble, selfless reason for the action. And step 4, you broadcast that official story to yourself and to the world, fully believing it's the truth. It's a built-in system for plausible deniability. We all love to think we're the king sitting on the throne of our mind. But this quote nails it. The truth is, you're not the king, you're just the spokesperson, frantically trying to make the real king, your primal selfish drives, look respectable. So, if our social lives are just one big game of managing appearances, what's the currency? How do we actually communicate our value? It's not with words. Words are cheap. In the real, high-stakes game of human interaction, we use a much more honest language. We use the hidden currency of signaling. This comes from a concept in biology called costly signaling theory, and it explains almost everything about status, trust, and power. The rule is brutally simple. For any signal to be believed, it has to be expensive. It has to cost something: time, energy, money, or risk. That cost is what makes it honest. I mean, anyone can say they're a good person, but it's the person who sacrifices their time for you who proves it. The cost guarantees the honesty of the signal. Let's break this down. On one side, you have cheap talk. This is all the low-cost stuff. Words, promises, a social media post. It's easy to do, which means it's incredibly easy to fake, so it carries almost no weight. On the other side, you have costly signals. These are the things that are hard to do. Real sacrifices, actions that have consequences. This is the only currency that actually matters, because it's nearly impossible to counterfeit. This is the language of trust and status. And these costly signals are absolutely everywhere, hiding in plain sight. A luxury watch isn't really about telling time, it's a costly signal of financial success. A degree from a tough university isn't just about the education, it's a costly signal that you're intelligent and diligent enough to conform to a demanding system. And a big public donation to charity? Well, it's a very costly signal that you have resources to spare and that you're a generous pro-social person. Okay, so we live in a world governed by unwritten social rules, and we communicate our value through these costly signals. But here's the thing about rules. As soon as they exist, the game becomes about how to break them. This is the art of cheating the social contract. The book puts it bluntly. Everybody cheats. Now, we're not talking about major crimes. We're talking about the thousands of tiny, unspoken social norms we navigate every day. We bend and break these little rules all the time, especially when we think we can get away with it. This is a critical shift in perspective. Most people see social norms as a simple guide for how to be a good person. But that's a naive view. The reality is that norms create a competitive arena. The real game isn't just following the rules. It's about understanding precisely how far you can bend them to your own advantage before you get called out. So in this social game, the ultimate goal isn't to be perfectly honest or to never break a rule. The goal is to master the art of plausible deniability. It's about giving your inner press secretary just enough material to work with so that your selfish elephant can get what it wants while your public reputation stays spotless. All right, when you put these three forces together, the hidden elephant, the currency of costly signaling, and the game of cheating social norms, the world around you starts to look very, very different. Let's apply this new lens to a few everyday situations. Think about a typical conversation. The official story, the stated motive, is that we're exchanging information. But if that were true, we'd all be listening way more than we talk, because listening is how you get information. But we don't, do we? We're all fighting for airtime. Why? Because the hidden motive of conversation is to show off. It's a performance, to signal our intelligence, our status, and our value as a potential ally. And what about laughter? You think you laugh because something is funny, but that's not its real job. Laughter is actually a social signal. It's a subconscious, hard-to-fake way of communicating, hey, we're just playing here. This isn't a real threat. It's a tool we use to test social boundaries. You say something a little risky. If the other person laughs, you know you're safe. If they don't, you know you've just crossed the line. It's pure social navigation. Let's even look at charity, our most celebrated virtue. The stated motive is obvious, to help people. And sure, it does that. But if that were the only reason, we would all be ruthlessly efficient, finding the one charity where our dollar does the absolute most good. But we don't. We give in ways that are visible, to causes our friends will see, in ways that build our reputation. Because the hidden motive is to send a powerful, costly signal that we are successful, empathetic, and a trustworthy member of the tribe. And this is the point of no return. Once you learn to look for the elephant, once you start analyzing the real signals instead of the cheap talk, once you see the game being played just beneath the surface, you see it everywhere. In your office, on a date, in family gatherings, and most uncomfortably inside your own head. You can never go back to just blindly believing the official story again. So now you have a choice. You can go back to being a puppet of your inner press secretary, living in the comfortable fictional world it creates for you, or you can choose to see the elephant. You can acknowledge the game and for the first time start to understand human nature as it actually is. If you choose awareness, this is your first step. This isn't just about watching, it's about participating. Subscribe so you don't miss the next truth we uncover. And I want you to comment below, now that you have this lens, what's a hidden motive you see playing out all the time? Welcome to the small group of people who choose to see reality.